Hi, this is Cody with JNC Guns, and Andrew's going to sit down. He had to push the button.
Andrew too.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about some of the comments on our shotgun versus handgun for home defense, where we compared an HK-40, a 40 caliber, it's a USP, and a Remington 870 Express. So we're going to go down some of the comments and kind of tell you what we think on the situation. So top one we have right now was put on by Record Man Full. Said get rid of the sling, it'll get in the way. If you're walking through your house, you don't want to, if you're going on patrol, you don't want to have a shotgun, you want to have a handgun, and you want to have a light on the handgun. I could kind of agree with that. Yeah, I could see that.
I hadn't thought about the whole sling thing. That's kind of, I hadn't really even given that thought. I just have the sling on there like for when I go bird hunting or clay pigeon shooting.
Right. So yeah, and that's it's just kind of on there. But another guy said he agrees, but he prefers the 22 long rifle because it has lower levels of wall penetration, easier follow-ups from the no recoil, and also a very interesting point that I agree with a lot is that it's not as loud, so you can hear sound after you fire. It doesn't deafen you.
And I can relate to that, and I think Cody, you've been there for an accidental discharge as well. I've been there for one. I've been there when a full-size 1911 went off, and my ears were ringing for hours. I couldn't hear anything for a good minute. I mean, it was loud. I mean, especially inside.
Even when you go hunting, you know, and you shoot and you do one round of some rifle, you know, your ears will ring for a while. You might not notice because you get that buck fever or whatever it is, but you know, absolutely that can happen. One of my favorite comments is a guy said 10mm, best cartridge ever made. Period. Best. Well spoken. So we got the guy that his name is Andrew Kessler 4, and he said his name is Andrew and he loves shotguns too. So that's cool. Andrew argued in favor of the shotgun. I argued in favor of the handgun.
And you know, you guys left great comments. There's some great comments on here that have made me think about things that I'd never thought about before, like the one where, you know, there's no one right answer here. Like if you're going to barricade yourself, maybe a shotgun is better, but if you're going to go walking around the house, maybe a handgun is better. There's some things in here that I hadn't really given a whole lot of thought before, so that's good.
And another comment that I liked, that again, like along the thought-provoking thought process, is we didn't even really get into the difference between a revolver and a semi-auto. Semi-autos in their magazines will have springs, whereas a revolver doesn't. So if you were to have one long-term, that's something to be aware of because the springs in a magazine can wear down over time. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't change them religiously every week or every month.
Neither do I.
I forget about it. You know, I get busy or whatever the case. That's definitely an important thing to pay attention to. One comment read something along the lines of buckshot or birdshot might not kill a person. I mean, that's not very true.
That's not true.
At close distance, it will work just the same as if it were, you know, one solid round of that same diameter.
Right.
But once you get out to 20, 30, 40 feet when it starts to spread, yeah, you're right, it may have way less penetration and each individual pellet has not enough weight to push through very far. But you can absolutely kill. It's about where it hits. Now, to make the argument that a 22 long rifle is more deadly than a shotgun or could be, you know, I play the odds, so I feel like I've got better odds hitting a vital spot with a shotgun and 50, 60 pellets than I do with one 22 caliber bullet. So that's just me. One user said neither. 5.56 suppressed. That's the best way to go. Not everybody can get a suppressor. Not every state allows it. And another guy, a little more extreme, says, who the is invading your house? Seriously, if they're wearing armor, they want your hide, and know you're armed. Besides, a shotgun glass is going to break ribs through armor. So if that's your angle, the pressure from a shotgun blast could break through to the ribs. So I've seen people that get nasty bruises after being.
I mean, handguns will do the same thing on armor. It's not going to kill. It's going to stop the bullet probably and not kill you, but you're not going to just not feel it. It can break some ribs and leave you pretty jarred. Same thing.
And another point too, that we were discussing right before we hopped on camera here is that a lot of people argue that you want to disable or stop the person and not kill them because you'll be in a lot of difficulties legally or trouble if you kill them. we're not going to get too much into that because that could have a lot of political and personal feelings. My take on it, and Andrew and me kind of agree on this, is that you want to stop the person. You want to make them
not be a threat to you.
Not be a threat to you anymore.
Right.
And
not having specifically in your head, I'm going to kill this person, but
right.
just this person is in my house. They are a threat to me and my family. That is not acceptable. Not I'm going to blow this person away. Like that's just not the attitude I have about it.
Right. And you gotta get to the point in your mind where there's two schools of thought to that. Number one, if you want to be the kind that says, I want to kill someone, I want someone to be afraid. Good, they should be afraid. Good, this should be extreme. That is good because then people are afraid. People that might even think about robbing your house know that there are people out there that are more than willing to kill you over hurt you. They want to be as mean as possible. That's kind of beneficial in a bullying sense, that it will help prevent people from wanting to break in because now there's some crazy dude out there that's trying to kill them.
Right, and I'll just throw one little thing on top of that, and that's just that the areas of our country that have the strictest gun control laws have the highest rates of gun crime in the country. Yeah,
it's true, but
all needs to be said there.
The other side of it is that you don't. On a personal level, for you, defending your home, you don't want to have to kill the person because there are a lot more legal problems and ramifications and who knows what, involved with that. And personally, I'd rather disable to someone and let the justice system take over and take care of them. Even as flawed as it might be, that's the way things are supposed to be, and that's kind of a part of the way our country should work, I believe. So we're going to make this as fast as possible, go through some more of them. I appreciate if you guys want to stay here and go through all the comments. Wanted to hit on some of the bigger ones, so we're going to keep going through them.
And we still keep the comments coming. We like expanding horizons and perspectives and hearing new stuff. Because like I said, the comments from before made me think about some stuff I hadn't consideed that
Tons
much
of stuff. I mean, we got
good stuff here.
A funny one I loved, the last one I'll leave you guys with, is this guy told me, left a comment, and he says, I prefer a Mac 11 with rubber shot shells. So I'm thinking, okay, he's got a fully automatic 9mm shot shell handgun.
Interesting.
So that is the best of every world possible, except for financially. That's a very, very expensive process. I think he said it took him a couple of $1,000s. But if that's the ultimate that you want to go for, absolutely. And whatever you pick for home defense, the bottom line is that you practice with it. So, all right, we're going to get back to these comments and go on with those. A couple of users actually mentioned the Judge, the 410 45 long Colt. Again, that's a great possibility. You got shotgun. You got more expansion from the shorter barrel. Me and Andrew talked about that as well.
And I know people personally who carry a shotgun or a handgun like that in their house and stagger rounds. Like they'll alternate either birdshot and slugs or buckshot and slugs. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know. Like there's definitely a school of thought there. I just don't know a whole lot about it. If anybody has any good stuff there, we'd like to hear it.
That's my phone. I'm sorry. Just ignore the catchy ringtone. No. One user, his name is Wally Tubber. WALLYTUBR. Maybe it's Tuber. Maybe I'm wrong. He says, you can carry a hatchet in one hand. Okay, so I guess that's a vote for the handgun. Because you can't carry it. We talked. You can't carry one thing in with a shotgun in one hand and a hatchet in the other, I guess, this guy. I don't know. All right. Got some votes for the Keltec KSG shotgun. It's kind of a cool shotgun. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos on that. It's got a higher capacity. It loads in the buttstock. It's got a neat forward grip on it. I mean, if you play any games, you might have seen it, but it's a pretty good shotgun. I've seen a lot of videos on it. I haven't had too much experience with it myself yet. Hopefully in the future. Oh, sorry, it wasn't a Mac 10. Here's the comment. Dead Tired 171 has a friend that owns a pawn shop, holds a Class 3 FFL, has a fully automatic Mac 10 loaded with rubber shot shells. So yeah. Anyhow, that's nice because less penetration. And I never even thought about when we made the video about shot shells, rubber shot shells.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
Out of a handgun, I mean, if you don't want to kill someone, that is probably one of the better ways to disable someone. And like someone else said, we were talking earlier, if a guy comes into your home wearing body armor looking for you, he probably is expecting you to have something, and you're probably in a bad way to begin with.
Yeah, I mean,
that is not typical.
No.
Typically, I mean, I can't speak from too much experience, but typically that seems like something that might not happen. So, we got a lot of comments that said that with a shotgun you don't have to be accurate. You know, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb there and guess that most people meant you don't have to be as accurate because you have a wider range. But with that, you know, 20 feet for a shotgun and even a shortened barrel,
you're still going to only have a hole a couple inches wide. Not even that.
Yeah, half a foot or so. Half a foot or so, maybe not, maybe less. Maybe Andrew's seen more than I have. But, I mean, you know, you're not going to have huge amounts of spread, so you are going to have to still be accurate with a shotgun. But if someone's running, you know, you got a huge house and you're shooting at them from 30, 40, 50 feet away, yeah, you don't have to be as accurate. But it's not quite like the videos make it where you get a 2-foot hole from 20 feet away.
Right.
You know, it doesn't quite work like that. So, again, the judge, you know, shorter barrel, the expansion goes faster, but you have less pellets. I mean, you know, all that stuff. The judge I'm kind of a fan of. I like the idea behind it, so I haven't played with it as much. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff we have, and a lot of people talk about the psych effects, having a laser, having a flashlight, racking the shotgun, racking the handgun, and you know that can go both ways. I don't know that I have a preference one way or the other.
I don't either. I mean,
personally, I'd rather have it because if someone has been loud enough that I can hear them in my home, I don't necessarily want them to know where I'm at. I just know where they're at. So that's really the only way I could feel one way or the other. You know, as much as I like to feel like a BAMF, I kind of be as practical as possible about it. And, you know, this is a little more serious than some of the stuff we like to do. So, a lot of people said if you're going to barricade yourself or barricade your wife in a room, and this got a lot of likes, you know, barricade yourself in a room with a shotgun. Leave your wife with a shotgun, take the handgun and go through the house. Make sure you have a code word so that she knows you're coming through, because your adrenaline will be high, hers will be high. Or your significant other, or whatever the case. You know, take the kids, leave the wife, put it, you know, whatever the case, whatever you need to do to get it done. But at that point, because everyone has cell phones today, you know, I kind of imagine that you're going to be able to make a phone call. So barricade yourself, get the kids, you know, whatever you need to do, and point the shotgun at the door and make that phone call. Have the kid make the phone call. You know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's that bit. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff here. I mean, some of these get to be pretty long. I mean, we got everything from
410s, we got handguns. A lot of ideas. You
know, so yeah, no, a lot of ideas. And speaking of new ideas, so Andrew was arguing in favor of the shotgun. You know, I was arguing in favor of a handgun. One of the neat things we argued, one of the strong points between shotguns and handguns, is that with a shotgun you don't have two hands. Well, a lot of users said, why don't you put a cell phone on speaker? They're absolutely right. You could do that. I mean, you know, that's a possibility.
The only thing I might think about with that, though, is, like you just said a minute ago, giving away where you are.
Exactly.
If you have a cell phone on speaker, yeah. I mean, just things to consider. I mean, there's probably no perfect answer here, but it depends on where you live. You know, Cody and I live in apartments. A lot of you probably live in houses. Some of you big houses, some of you small houses. The considerations are going to be different.
So another one that I liked, the last two comments I'm going to read you guys. I'm going to tell you my favorite one. It's at the very end. I think it's hilarious. Somebody asked us about 357. They told us they don't know much about this round. 357 is an incredible round.
It's a great round.
I prefer it less for home defense. I prefer it for backpacking. You know, bears, anything. You got more range and more accuracy, in my opinion, than a semi-auto will ordinarily give you.
Plus, you can shoot the cheaper 38s out of it and practice that way too.
Yeah. I mean. Oh, yeah, exactly. You know, and for home defense, you know, I could see it being used because the argument of I can store it and forever, basically, without worrying about the spring wearing down and the rounds not feeding through reliably, and the ease of use for a revolver. Mm-hmm. The drawback I see is that and the 357 is nice because it doesn't have the recoil of a 44 mag. It's still somewhat manageable, or a 44 special, or a 41 Magnum, or 454, even bigger than that. You know, it doesn't have that much recoil, and not that any of those can't be managed. Just, you know, I'm not a huge person. I'm about 165 and about 5'9", so. You know, I shoot regularly, but 357 is great. If you need to pick it up and pull off one in a hurry, you can still do that fairly accurately.
It recoils enough that you know something just happened, and it's like you can't do a super fast follow-up shot like you could with a 9mm, but it's not such a bad recoil like a 44 mag or a 454 that you have to take a break and wipe the blood off your face from the recoil.
Yeah, I mean, the 44s and up from that, they start to get a little less manageable. And again, you got the only other problem with 357 is you have higher cost of rounds than you would a semi-auto.
You do.
So that's something else to take into consideration. And with my theory of you need to practice, no matter what you're using, you could be using your grandpa's single shot 22. It doesn't matter. Or you could be using the newest, latest, and greatest technology. Some kind of semi-auto shotgun. It doesn't matter. I mean, okay, maybe there's a difference, but it doesn't matter as long as you practice, because you have to know how the gun works and everything else. In the dark, in the light, if you drop it, you have to be able to pick it up and identify it without seeing it. Things like that. So, the last thing, or Andrew, do you have anything else before I hit the last comment, and then we'll get out of here?
I don't think so. We've touched on some pretty good stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you can't hit anything, I mean, a good shot from a 22 is better than a miss from a 44 Magnum. I mean, if you can't practice and hit what you're aiming at, and be able to fumble with the thing under pressure, and that sort of thing, it's not even an argument, because you're not going to be able to accomplish anything.
So my favorite comment is hilarious. It says that 40 gauge over 12 gauge double aught buckshot.
40, I think he means
40 over 12 gauge double aught buckshot, because the 40 has knockdown power and penetration with a question mark. So they were asking us, is the 40 better than a 12 gauge because the 40 has more knockdown power and penetration? Then he goes, something seems wrong with that. A 40 is a punch from Batman. 12 gauge buckshot is like a punch from Superman. So there you go.
I personally don't want to get punched by either.
No. No, I'm not a fan.
But I see the point there. I can see the analogy.
And so thanks guys. Love the comments. Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. More. Subscribe to our channel and check out our other videos.
Tell us what points we need to work on. Check out our other videos.
Keep the ideas coming. This has been Andrew and Cody with Jancguns. Thanks for watching.